This is Dan Max at XP Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your live market review, Thursday, January 19th, 2023. Let's get into it. Can I get a mic check? Make sure people can hear me loud and clear. Wanted to jump in because I think a lot of people know that we're short, been bearish, but talked about if we hit our levels, we should be taking profits. Now we're bouncing. Now what? Well, I want to talk about that because a lot of this is mental. You know, if you had the plan to short up near the highs when the VIX was at the 18, everything looks right, and you did, sweet. Well, now if you're not taking any profit and the market hits your levels, we need to talk. Because a lot of people, I think, are struggling with the mental flexibility. Again, I am absolutely 100% still bearish, but it doesn't mean what? It has to go up, right? In a straight line. Or sorry, go down in a straight line? No, it just doesn't work like that. And so knowing how the markets work, we talked about all of this all week. Do not be prepared, or be prepared mentally for debt ceiling negotiation chop, potentially drops. We've got evidence of why things were dropping, but now that some are rallying, are you surprised? Are you entertained? I hope so. Hope you're very aware of what's going on, because I think it's one of those things where if you have in your mind certain trades you're looking to do, well, here you go. Any questions, thoughts, concerns before I start? Yeah, let's look at gold real quick. It's popping too. I'm about to hit the exit buttons. We'll see. I mean, we're not over the highs that I want. Now people are like, oh, you started shorted here. Yeah, we started shorting a little lower. Okay. Again, I mean, I told people very clearly, like, my defined risk was with some cheap puts when I first got in. If those drop 50%, say going from $1 and change to like 50, 60 cents that I have time, that's my defined risk. How you handle it, understood. Now, adding up here, gone a little deeper, a little bit of what I can say is like not, I mean, my risk is larger and it's defined where I will be more vigilant if I'm wrong here. And I also have in the back of my mind, like, gold could rise and pop on, say, some news that we don't anticipate. So, I mean, again, in my mind, I'm not going nuts. I just know how the retail masses love to jump in gold. And the bugling of it on Twitter is just getting like, what is it? It's getting rather loud, as I like to call it. Like, I mean, I'm seeing, where is it? What's this guy? Octavio Costa, buy gold, sell stocks. Posting that all day. And I mean, I'm seeing this from like all the other gold friends that I have. I don't know if they're friends, but people I follow. And you know how often they've been right? Never. I mean, they just never seem to be right. Because again, they're never saying to buy it at the lows because they're worried about the perception. Again, I don't mind being wrong to people. But I do have problems with people who are always parroting the wrong stuff. So, all right, if you got any questions, please ask them. Get involved. I appreciate it. So at this point, not a lot to talk about other than just watching the markets, anticipating the markets. Yeah, thanks. It's good to see you in here, my friend. I think, again, it's not rocket science what's going on here. Hopefully not to most folks. I am not a robot. Did the feed go out? I hope not. No. Okay, cool. Everything looks good. Oh, what the heck? All right, I just threw an ad in. All right, whatever. All right. When will gold drop? Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, right? Here, let me show you guys. Let me pull up some weekly charts. Again, I'm not a perma bear on gold at all. I just struggle with the idea that it's going to go up in a straight line without some pullbacks if the market is going to get slapped around. Now look at the weekly. We talked about it like holding down here. Y'all remember like this week of the Feds during whatever, was it November or something? And it was like, I don't want to buy gold, but it still makes sense that it should rally at some point. Well, now you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks straight up. And now you're coming into this gap. You got resistance over here. You got resistance over here. Like, could it shoot right through it? Could it? Absolutely. But remember we talked about when you go from like range lows to range highs, you got to anticipate what? You got to anticipate some pullbacks because, again, people are trapped. Now, if this was making new 52-week highs, like our all-time highs, then yeah, there is no ceiling, right? But if the market is what I would consider in this position of up, like for gold, like you're going to find sellers, just like you found sellers here at old resistance, right? You can see it here. I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean, again, this is the weekly, not the daily. But look at where it got tired previously, right? Okay. And now again, I mean, 168 down to 164, 4 or 5 points. I mean, that might be all the juice in this orange to squeeze. So I hope this makes sense. People just like, oh, I don't get what you're doing. Don't get. Well, again, yeah, good point. Let's talk about the dollar. Make you holla. Let's get into it because that's one of the things we've talked about. Like if the dollar's bottoming, gold. I mean, now again, could you get down to this next support zone? Maybe. But I don't think so. I mean, I can't anticipate it because at a certain point, this has been stretched down. Multiple gaps, now multiple day range. Then yesterday's action is an outside reversal candle. Well, again, today, if it's a doji, is that really bearish or is it just need more information? I would say you need more information. Do you think there's any validity to the possible overbought in the Dow and the oversold in the NASDAQ short term? Again, short, oversold, overbought is relative. If you've read Livermore's book, you know very well that things can go much higher or much lower than you think. At this point, a lot of it was all technical in my mind. We talked about the DIA, like leading up, and then it's like, made a lower high. That's, to me, that's the best short. Now, again, we'll see what happens here. Is when you make a new high, what's the best time? Like, is there always not a dip? Right? Is there not always some sort of retest? The V's are the exception, right? Well, here is your retest. I know, and here was an outside reversal, went lower, based, and here's your lower high. And people are saying, oh, head and shoulders bottom on the SMH and all that stuff. I'm like, man, I see what looks like a big head and shoulders on the daily on the DIA. And also, too, it just seems to get stuck up in this price action, and it rejects. So we'll see. I mean, could it bounce back? I mean, there's no doubt that it could. But will it? The odds are not high. Again, we're probability-based trader. We're not just like, we're not really trying to fight the odds. So as we talked about with the SPY getting down to our levels, let me get back to that because I think that's one of the things that I think people are struggling with. It drops. Cool story, bro. Hits the support zone. Now again, like people are like, I don't know why I'm saying like a bunch. People are asking questions, and it's like, did you not draw this? You have some sort of plan yourself? I mean, if you're following me, and I'm doing all the drawing and all the thinking for you, you're not paying me enough. Trust me. You couldn't pay me thousands of dollars to be your one-on-one coach. You can throw some tips for beer money and a nice steak and wine, or if you want to donate 10% of your winnings, that's cool. I will make sure to help you, but you don't want to take anyone's like straight up advice as your own. Like, your personality is different, mine's different. My risk tolerances are different, your risk tolerances are different. What you're comfortable doing and your knowledge, again, I'll tell people, hey, this is how you do this is what you do. They can't execute it. Like, I can't create an algorithm or a program to execute how you should trade, right? It makes sense. That's where the process of learning and owning it makes you the best trader you can possibly be. That's what I try to implore upon people. Like, take 1,000% responsibility and make this your education and tuition, in a sense, to be better. My thesis is the Fed would be okay with the net sum zero market move overall. And the market, no. The Fed, no, that's like me like trying to predict the end of a movie. I'm not the writer. We got to let the story play out. In my mind, net market neutral, the Feds are not concerned about the market. Remember, they sold all of their stocks in November of 2021. They don't give a shiitake mushroom what the market does. The only people who care are the ones on CNBC and Fox Business and all these financial programs because they have nothing else to talk about. The Feds are more concerned about what? Their dual mandate, low unemployment, low inflation, 2% inflation. They're not there yet. They're not even close by a mile. How much snow did we get? We got like 8 inches up here in Denver. So again, Deanna, your narrative, that seems like what you think you want to hear or see from the market. I don't believe that for a minute. I think the Feds are going to do what they're going to do. The Fed Fund Futures says they're going to raise rates. No, they're going to raise rates. Again, will they cause a recession? I mean, they've done it every time. We talked about it. There's no soft landing. There's no soft landing for never-ending money printing and then unwinding the liquidity. Every time CPI has gotten over 6% and the Feds had to raise rates, the only way they got it under control was raising rates above the CPI rate. Well, we're not there yet at all. And it caused a recession. So I struggle with that. Now, because again, I mean, I've said this 1,000 times. The NASDAQ is done. The NASDAQ is toast. Owning tech stocks for the long term is by far the dumbest idea anyone can have out there. By far. Now, the Dow will lead the next bull market up, right? Commodities will lead up, right? Like the materials, industrials, banks, housing. Because inflation, it sustains. Those things can do well. Tech does not do well with inflation because all of that does is just raise their input costs. And what does tech try to do? It's always trying to cut the prices and innovate. Your TV, that super sweet plasma TV that once cost $5,000 is now $500. Well, the input costs just continue to rise, and they can't compete in that arena to drive down costs when their inputs just continue to rise. That's why tech did absolutely dog crap from 2001 to 2008, and then some of them even lagged all the way to 2017, 2018. Hopefully that's clear. I mean, I've tried to relay that many times in the video, so just keep that in mind. Oh, Goldilocks. For solar bounce. And again, everything bounced a little, like how Taiwan semis just flatlining. Not surprised financials bounced. I mean, JP Morgan went from range high to range lows pretty dang quickly. Let's show you this real quick. Are you surprised it doesn't bounce here? Are you surprised it doesn't bounce here, right? Zing, 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 zings out, right? XLF. Now, again, I'd love for these to cut through the, like, butter. Again, XLF making new lows, but, like, JP Morgan's been leading. But this is the thing about trading, right? Like, your psychology is to want to get from point A to point B without ever thinking that there's going to be counter moves. And if there aren't, those are the one-off moves. That's why if you can leverage a trend, I mean, you don't even have to be in the whole trend to make a ton of money. Shit. A while back, someone in Discord mentioned a possible repeat of the SPX early mid-December. I'm watching for that to possibly happen. Maybe everything might be the trigger for the bigger drop. Maybe. Remember, it's earnings still coming up. We don't know. Again, it's easier to short at the highs and then trade around your position. Just like it was easy to buy the dips and trade around your position as the market rose. I think we're in this cycle now where it's very obvious. The recession is what it is. It's just the reaction to it. And my anticipation is every time we rally and we make lower highs, like look at the SPY. I mean, everyone's talking about that longer term downtrend, and man, it hit it again. In the 200-day, basically, boom, and failed. Everyone say, well, is there a head and shoulders bottom or whatever? Shampoo? I don't know. But I do know the economic data is getting worse. I do know the Feds are raising rates into a recession. Will this turn into a depression? I don't know. I do know that everyone, again, got bullish at the highs. I mean, I told y'all all last week. Oh, I'm getting a lot of, and this week, I'm getting a lot of calls and texts about it's time to buy the market. It's a lot of, Dan, should I be buying stocks? I think the worst is behind us. Okay, well then look what happens. Pulls back. Cup and handle, I guess. This is the thing about these formations. I mean, be aware of them, but anticipating them with clarity. I mean, again, you don't know the news, you don't know the narratives, you don't know how things are going to play out. So it's like, again, we want to have the pocket aces set up, but sometimes the data changes. And I tell this to people all the time. People go like, oh, you seem to be changing your opinion and your thoughts. And it's like, well, again, my brain is probability based. I have like 3 or 4 scenarios, maybe 2, once certain things happen. And then as the data and the evidence changes, I have to change my mind. I can't, the market's not going to pay me to do what I want it to do. It's going to pay me when I do what the market's doing. So you have to have like this pliable pivoting mental mindset that, all right, if this happens, and this happens, I can do this. And if this happens, I should be on red alert for that. Like, that's how my brain works when you get into this, because that's the thing. Like, if you think about the market's always trying to trap people. And if we talked about, like, if you go from range highs back down to the middle of this range and somewhere in the support zone, I mean, on the SPY, if it just bounces for a couple hours or a day or two, I wouldn't be surprised. It's ChopX. We talked about it. Everybody and their mom bought puts. Well, guess what? It's Wednesday. They sold them back to the market maker. The market maker just got paid. And now they're probably buying them all right back. Bunch of idiots. That's what the market does. It bets on it. Anticipates it. So, again, to be bullish, long-term, bearish, again, the average bear market lasts 12 to 18 months, right? Where are we at? 14? 12, 13? But keep in consideration, we're coming into a period where the biggest unwinding of liquidity in history is coming out of the market. Unprecedented liquidity went into the market. It is not going to be a quick fix unless the Feds go into what? Endless printing mode, which I don't think they're in that yet. They're still trying to raise rates. So for people to like really get bullish beyond like certain up moves, down moves, remember, it's a trader's market. Traders, bull markets, bear markets are traders' markets that end with the capitulation down. We have not hit the capitulation. How many times have I said over the last, I don't know, what seems like forever, is the bear market gonna peak with the VIX and the 38? Hell no. No, you're going to need at least some sort of like massive scare. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look. You're going to need something like at least up into the 40s or 50s. At least up into the 40s or 50s. At least. Come on. And this is just like fucking, again, sorry, excuse my language. It's like what, like if you don't know your history, you're doomed to fail. So to think that the bear market's over since 2021, and all you've gotten is a bunch of spikes into the mid-30s? Get out of here. Like, that's so naive. Like, what? What the? I don't even know. I gotta take a mental break. Just laughing. Absolutely laughing at folks. It's like, you don't know your history. Well, guess what? And you're going to have problems. Ay. What is going on? The computer's freezing. Can anyone hear me? Just curious. I feel like, yeah, what is that? Anybody out there? I think my Internet Explorer froze. Can anyone hear me on the Discord room? I apologize. This is super annoying. Might have to reset. Close all windows. Let's see what happens. Yeah, my Firefox went flat. I apologize. Give me 2 seconds. Still recording. This is what happens when you go live. Sometimes there are issues. All right, I'm getting messages. Let's see on my phone from Discord. Okay, you guys can hear me. Cool. I apologize. My Firefox just froze on me, so I couldn't see comments coming into the live chat. And then my Discord on my computer. Give me 2 seconds. I got to reopen all of it. I have like 17,000 tabs open. Now, okay. Give me 2 seconds. I'm working on it. Oh, I'm working on it. Recently closed tabs. Come on. Oh, really? Oh, so it actually just... What is that? That is not cool. I apologize. I mean, I could reset it or just... Why did that happen? That is so annoying. All right, give me... I'm trying to figure it out. History. Okay, where are all my closed tabs? This is embarrassing. Yeah, that's a bummer. It's not giving me everything. Okay, well, I can see on the Discord room. I just can't see at the moment. Wow, this is sad shit. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to rally through. I can see the Discord room. If you have questions, it's gonna take a minute for me to open everything back up and get it going. But I can see. I'm not surprised. I mean, I feel like, yeah. There you go. You can hear it. Netflix tonight. What are we thinking? No clue. No clue. I apologize, man. I don't. Yeah, okay, cool. I appreciate you copying and pasting that. Let me see if I can get back into the live. At worst, I'll worry about all my tabs later. Okay, sweet. What are you thinking of Netflix tonight? Again, I don't really have ever any opinions beforehand. Like, we know... See, Eric, we know for a fact that we've hit our upside target zone. We know that. Yeah, exactly. Playing earnings is gambling. I don't know. I mean, if you rode this up and bought it down here, or like we talked about, and you didn't take any profits, I mean, could Netflix start a next market? Could it smoke tech out? I don't know. Thanks, Bam, for sharing that. That's hard, man. I don't know. I think the easy trade is to always wait for the after effect and not roll the dice and not get caught. And when I say get caught, like essentially meaning like if you're long and this thing rips down on you, good luck taking a big loss. So now again, this is the difference between successful traders and novices and gamblers, is that they're always trying to hit home runs with curveballs, essentially. Right? That's the question here. Do you want to put big amounts of capital at risk with huge uncertainties? No, because that's how you end up getting busted. That's how you end up losing your nut, essentially, right? Like, the goal is to protect it. Now, again, if you want to take a small call or a put going into earnings, good luck. That's fine. Do whatever you think. Remember, just the IB is going to be incredibly high. So, okay, coming in. Yeah, so it's just... I told this story 1,000 times. Like, I've had friends who worked for, big 5 accounting firms in the finance industry talk like, hey, we know their numbers. Cool. No, I know. But hey, we know their numbers. I appreciate it, Jagan. Hey, we know the numbers is what's going to happen. Or this is the whisper number that's pretty solid and it comes in exactly like everyone thought, but the reaction was like nothing compared to what people thought. Gold is still moving. Yeah, it is actually. Getting close to our upper range. Am I sticking with dust? Yeah, I still got half of my position on that. I mean, we bought that in the low 11s, sold a little in at like 12, was it? I don't know, 12, 15, 12, 10, a little bit here and there. Again, I don't mind holding like stock like that because I honestly don't think the downside is that great. So if you have a position in it, and you trade, again, it just depends on how aggressive. I mean, the difference between how I trade aggressively versus others is different. Like, if I get in big, I like to take a ton of it off when I get the first easy move, because I also know, like, I mean, I've had, as I talk about, profits slip through your hands. What's up, Bobby? Like, slip through my hands trying to, like, wait for another penny or $1, 50 cents. So for me, I started dust pretty aggressively. But again, I'm at this point where I'm willing to hold it going forward, knowing that my cost basis has been reduced by the profits I've taken, but also too, like, If I stop out at 11, fine, whatever. I'm not really going to cry about it in the sense of it. It just is what it is. I don't see, again, miners will not rise well if the market is dumping and gold is flat and silver starts to melt and again, credit crunch. Think of credit crunch. Go study the GDX. And here is a great, and this is why maybe I'm a little biased to like shorting the miners sometimes, is I've been involved in this. Like go look at the monthly here. Like look at during COVID. Whoosh. Yeah. Right? Look at 2008, right? Whoosh. Yeah. Right? Like these things got absolutely blasted. And gold held up pretty well, right? And gold went down some. I mean, again, it was one of those things where, the retail trader will jump into gold at the highs for protection, and then it'll chop, pull back. It won't have as much juice. And again, I really think people need to realize, like, gold probably will 100% bottom. Probably 100%. No, probably 99% bottom when the Feds start cutting, or we anticipate they're cutting. The next meeting, they're not cutting. And again, if they're cutting, then the recession's coming. And so be careful with the miners. I mean, it's a tenuous situation. Like, the gold miners aren't what people think they are, in the sense of, like, they're not really well-run companies. Anyway, it's hard. It's hard. And again, they're up 50%. Any thoughts on Nat Gas? Love it. Thanks, guys. It's like, from you guys, I can hear it. But the average person who's just like constantly like, hey, what do you think of Nat Gas? Talked about it. You could buy here, stopped out. Right? We talked about the trades in this area. I mean, this has just been, do you like the pain? Do you like pain? Born in the dark. Like Nat Gas. I mean, yeah. What? I don't know. Does low prices mean is it bottomed, right? It's like, I feel like we're at Walmart and they're just like doing the price rollback, and it's just like I'm watching the prices roll back ever so slightly the last couple weeks. It's like $1 here, 50 cents here, 30 cents here, a quarter here. It's like, all right, when you just give up and say, well, guess what? I'd rather be freaking late on natural gas than early. And I've said this many times in the videos, like Nat Gas bottomed, I think it was late January, if I'm correct or wrong. Yeah, here we go. Like late January. It was the last January effect I was kind of watching. Like this pop, who knows what caused it? Let's go back in like other Januaries, right? Here you go. I've noticed this, like the 20s. You had to have a 20 handle. Every day, new low prices. Guaranteed. The Widowmaker. I mean, it is. So, again, at this moment, if you think the market's going to pull back, is natural gas going to be some sort of anomaly that rises? If it is it the best trade out there? I mean, this is the thing that's so hard, and people are like, once they get this pivoting thing, and I know some of you guys listening, you're like, you love to make jokes because you are laughing. You're like, you're like, I can't believe people are still asking Dan about Nat Gas. And this thing has been a dog schnitzel. Oh, what about Nat Gas? Well, at a certain point, I thought I had a legitimate idea of what was going to happen. And it just didn't work. And I think a lot of you guys, hey, so whatever you felt with Nat Gas, I felt with silver. Hi-ho, silver away. You want to talk about pain? This time frame in silver made no sense. Inflation, 2-3%, right? The Feds, low rates, cutting. I mean, silver went nowhere. So, I mean, I used to think that every move was ready. I mean, obviously I got lucky buying physical down here, but holy crap, the paper game. You want to talk about misery? Yeah, you want to kill yourself and your whole family off to... I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, my biggest losses were in the metals space. That's where I mean, again, I just tell people, like, if you can manage the metals game, everything else seems easy. That's why I can laugh at Nat Gas. I'm like, you're a puss compared to silver. Compared to some of these metals. I mean, The most manipulated markets in the world with the lowest liquidity are the metals market. I mean, JP Morgan, if you're listening, I mean, I don't even know how many billions you guys have printed off of manipulating the market, but hey, if you can get away with it, then is it really a crime? I don't know. On paper, yes. Technically, no. I guess. I mean, again, it's like funny. They get in trouble and they pay like a fine. It's like, oh, pay a $50 million fine. How much money did you guys make? Oh, $10 billion. Okay. I mean, I would you pay that fine? If you could rig the markets, everyone would say yes 1,000 times over. All right, any thoughts, questions, concerns? Again, this is more for y'all, and a lot of this is ultimately mental. I don't know where the market's going to close today, but if I had a guess, I would try to pin it to 390. Get some big round number, or maybe pop it and then flop it with Netflix. Right? Netflix after the close? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Or here is my favorite scenario right now. Netflix misses, the market dumps, we hold the lows in the 385, and then play this game of chop next week, early next week. Yeah, Calcardi, I agree. The gold manipulation is the fines. Yeah, the cost of doing business. It's the transaction fee. Oh, if we're going to manipulate the market, we're going to have to pay our fines. Whatever. I mean, I've never manipulated a market, nor can I. How fun would that be? Just kidding. I'm a market maker for Nat Gas. That's what people are like. Are you a market maker teaching us? You seem to know what's going on. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to take anyone's money. I'm trying to take, well, I guess essentially we are taking someone's money. But I'm not taking the people that are following us. We're taking retail's money. Remember, they always say, like, an idiot and their money will always part ways. So please don't be an idiot. I'd try not to be an idiot. I know the market's trying to take my money. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? How about First Solar, y'all? Why do I think a little bit of chop into next week? Just the nature of earnings. I could be dead wrong on this, but it's a big earnings week, Jagan. Right? And so the market from day to day is going to have what potentially, like, right, if Apple comes out or Amazon, like big names come out, they could affect the market near term, right? Because they're such large parts of the S&P 500, Dow, and the Qs. That's all. That's kind of my thinking on that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they all, and again, maybe not so much Apple. Maybe actually most of the tech. I mean, it really hasn't risen a ton. Some of it has, but this is where I think people don't realize is that these stocks traded where multiples didn't matter. Well, now that people are trying to derive value out of these companies, the multiples might. Do they really deserve double-digit PEs with single-digit negative growth rates? No, ma'am. No, sir. First Solar, we talked about this yesterday. And then, I mean, how many times did I say at the close? If you see 177, 178, you might want to add, because we talked about taking some at 175. Had to throw some out of the Discord room, maybe permanently, maybe temporary, like getting like, just acting like I don't know how to explain it, just getting annoyed that I was trying to make a strong point of here, like trade around it, and then got annoyed when I told them they're an idiot. But that's fine. I mean, sometimes I'm an idiot. I'm not. Trust me, I am perfectly fine being told I'm an idiot. I get it probably 70 times a day, and it doesn't bother me. Just do what I'm going to do. And then look what happens today. Boom. And we talked about, who remembers me talking about, like, hey, do you remember the top up here was kind of like choppy, and then some dojis, and then wham, started the slippage. Big tech isn't next week. Are you sure? I thought you had, hold on. You got Tesla next week, IBM, you got Microsoft, right? You got some of it. I guess it's the next 2 weeks, essentially. Yep, they are on the Fed. Oh, God, it's funny how, yeah, the big tech earnings are now on the Fed days. Oh, wow. Yeah. I think we're just at a point where I think you're going to see certain names drop, certain names hold flat, certain names maybe rise. And here's where you have to do your best to pivot or give up if you're wrong. And that's where I think, and people are like, you're shorting gold. That's crazy. Well, I think, again, everyone's rushing into gold to be the savior as the market dumps. I kind of like it as a hedge if the market does rise, and then people realize, like, all right, well, we don't need to hold gold because maybe they get the debt ceiling figured out. which again, they probably will. They all want to spend their damn money. Yeah, okay, Apple 2 weeks today, so it's next Thursday. And usually it's like, what, Amazon, Apple. Was it Guggenheim going to be in there? And it's like earnings. It's been through so many earnings cycles. 4 a year for like 20 years. Feels like certain repeating tendencies. And here we go. SPY 390. Not surprised. Now here with First Solar, I mean, that's a busted pivoting chart. Now, could it be like some M top? Ooh. Yeah, a ton on February 2nd. I'm not surprised. I don't know. But if you didn't take any profits again today on First Solar, shame on you. Shame on you. I mean, again, where's the bottom? I don't know. Whenever you're happy. Whenever you put enough money in your pocket to pay yourself, pay your rent, pay your mortgage, pay your family, pay for a vacation. I don't know. That's why it's so hard to be like, where to get out. Because, again, I essentially can't know anything for sure. And none of us can. Like, that's the reality here. We're trading probabilities. I mean, how many times do we have the analogy? You get pocket aces. Is that guaranteed to win at poker? Nope. No, it is not. It is absolutely not. All right, any more thoughts, questions, concerns? I love doing the lives. They're way more fun than the daily market recaps by myself. Can't go wrong taking profits. Yep, you can't go broke. And that is the goal here. And it's funny, I had some people who are like, I made a ton of money today. And I'm like, well, did you book the money? Is it like in your pocket? Did you actually like take profits? Because as of right now, your profits aren't real until they're realized. And again, if you are making money, I'm never taking. If you're never taking money, then don't be surprised when the market takes it back. And that's where like trading around the position becomes so important. I mean, thank you guys for your support and love. Again, I really appreciate the donations. I mean, I tell people this all the time. They're like, you don't charge for this? I'm like, no, I have faith that the people who are actually using the information correctly are going to make money. The people who are using the information wrong, they're not going to make money. So it's one of those things where, again, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's one of those things where no matter what, if your emotions are all messed up, none of this makes sense permanently or makes really much sense at all. And so one of those things, like, if you're saving money on your tuition bill, I know you'll be like, thank you, Dan, and you'll generously donate, just like I would. That's how again, maybe I'm just naive to the fact of the world, but that's why I believe in abundance. When you share and give, the universe, gives it back. So I don't really care, but I do appreciate it because, again, it's one of those things where it makes me want to help people more. And the people in the Discord room know this for a fact. Like, if you donate and you're involved, I mean, I'll literally drag you to get better if I have to, make you kick and scream, and I'll break you down to because again, you don't realize that your deepest core is all your problems. Just like my coaches, my mentors, they screamed and yelled at me like, you're a freaking idiot. And I'd be like, no, but I think I know. And they're like, you need to stop projecting what you think you know. You're the smartest guy in the room. Yeah, I'll even call you. Yeah, I call you guys all the time. I call people out of the blue. If I know, I feel like, hey, are you okay? Is things going well? I do that all the time. Because I generally want, again, I totally, like, if there's 10 people that get this in the end, then we're above the averages. 95% of people in this room talking are going to fail or not be able to do really anything much with the markets. I'm trying to take that to 50%. And the more people who get involved and learn, and I'm actually proud of some of the people who've been around for a while and they're like, man, I'm struggling right now. Take a break. You can't keep doing things that are wrong and expect to be successful. And now, again, there's might be certain pieces of things. And again, this is where you review what worked and what didn't. And the ability to take a break. I'm telling you right now, most people are like, I got to get back in the casino. I got to jump back in. I got to do it. I got to gamble. I got to make trades. I got to start trading again. I'm down. I'm up. No. You will find that your greatest redemption mentally is from taking the pressure off and being able to be completely 100% honest with yourself. And it hurts sometimes. I mean, it makes me think of like times looking in the mirror crying. Like, hey, you knew not to do that, but why did you do it anyway? Or you could have had a small loss and you had it makes me teary to think about, like, man, you had your setup for the year. You were about to do this and do that and had all these plans, and it's like, man, they're going, and you blew the money on a trade forcing your convictions versus doing what the market's doing. That's why I'm always like trying to be very upfront about how humble you have to be to the market, because Nothing is guaranteed. Man, it makes me like think about, like, draws up a lot of emotion. Because I mean, I don't think you guys like understand. Like, you have to be your own psychologist. You have to be able to like look at yourself and go, you are an idiot. You, person looking in the mirror, you are wired to lose. Do you want to continue losing, or do you want to like figure the market out? So, someone asked, what is XOP? Did I miss that? Sorry, I was on that rant, but that, man, it is real. It is absolutely real that we are the biggest sole issues with our own execution. SMH, we talked about it. I liked the short up here. Got a little Soxus yesterday. When you take money out and pay yourself, what do you do with it? All right, we'll talk about that in a second. SMH. This range just doesn't, I mean, again, I'd love to see that, but I don't think we're getting that. So that's where the short is. Taiwan Semi seems to have no lift, even as the market's rallying, which is good because it has let up. I'm not surprised, and this is the thing about the market at this point, going forward near term. We drop pretty quickly. I'd love for it to melt more, but I don't sit here and go, well, it has to. That's where we're taking the profits, relieving the pressure, getting more neutral, getting okay with it rising. I'm not going to look at my account balance and go, freaking A, why didn't I take profits? Like, I should have done that. No. Absolutely not. So now what? All right. Let me pull up XOP because someone asked about that one earlier. I think I missed that one. Sorry, man. I get really teary thinking about my past because I'm like, dude, I should be worth 1,000x what I am if I could have just figured it out. Like, I always got to the brink where I could save myself and restart or figure it out, but it was like, man, how much money out there. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars, in my opinion, if I would have done this correctly and gone with it. Especially if I would have bought just a little bit of Bitcoin. Just a little bit. XOP, again, not surprised. That's a little bit of outside. I mean, it's like double outside reversals, right? Like, if it closes at 140, that's going to be hilarious. So what do you do with your money when you pay it out? Well, the key is to try to find passive income, reoccurring income that pays you to not trade. Like, if you want to sit on your couch Saturday afternoon and watch a football game, you're getting paid. That's the golden ticket here, right? You have to think of it from that perspective. Like, having the biggest trading account doesn't matter because it's never guaranteed that you're going to be able to cash that out. And again, trading taxes suck. I mean, they suck. Capital gains suck. Real estate, no capital gains taxes if you do 1031 exchanges. If it's your primary and you buy and sell it, you lived in it for 2 out of 5 years, you have a $500,000 exemption. You know, depreciation, you can write off all expenses. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me why it's real estate. So, and that's one of the things. I used to not take my money out of my accounts. That's what was so frustrating. I don't think you guys realize how easy it is for me at certain times if I connect swing trades with options to 10x an account in options, to grow accounts very quickly. And then what? To give it all back if I was wrong, right? And we talk about the 1 or 2 times that you're just dead wrong are the times that you have to be very thoughtful of, because those are the times that you potentially could lose it all. I feel that not hundreds of millions, though. I mean, everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. Oh, man, gold getting right back up there. Getting right back up there. Well, again, it's interesting. It's rising with the market. What's the dollar coming back down? I guess kind of, not really. What's the VIX at? Back to 20, I imagine. 2033. Yeah, we'll see. I think people don't realize, like, in the scheme of long-term market trading, real generational wealth is built on passive income assets. The trading is just trying to get the sugar, the ingredients, the flour for that. Because if your life and death depends on your performance in trading, you're going to struggle. I mean, why do you think Buffett only buys cash-generating cash cow businesses that he can just sit and hold on to? Because he wants that reoccurring income, those dividends. And then if the company doesn't do that well, I mean, he's still getting paid a ton to hold their stock. And then he's selling the covered calls, the covered call king, Warren Buffett. He buys companies that don't have much downside and are like just cogs in the wheel of the economy that hopefully never go away. Like that's how he looks at it. So if that's how you want, and again, invest. Now again, if you want to buy like dividend ETFs, that's always something you can do, and you can even sell covered calls against those things if they have volatility. Man, it's just whoa. Okay, all right. Man, I'm getting distracted. Pull up gold because it might have to pull the plug on it. Oh, man, we're getting right up against where I don't want to see. How about didn't want to see? Don't and didn't are very different, right? Wow, it's starting to cook. What did I miss something? Give me 2 seconds. This is costing me by not stopping out some of the. Oh fuck! I don't have all those. I don't have all my windows open because it closed on me. What's going on in the market? Did I just miss something? I feel like something just popped. As I've talked about, maybe the debt ceiling would be the probably insufficiently restrictive. Oh, story stocks, no. Alcoa, no. We missed something on Twitter? Stock twits? Anybody? Huh. Anybody? News? Maybe not. I mean, I'm not surprised the market rallied back. We talked about. If you got to set your stops, do it. I mean, this is what gets hard, right? I have some options that I've just kind of put in my mind that they're the cost to play. Bought cheap dollar options next week on GLD. All right. Stock gone. Stock gotta, yeah. I mean, I think you just gotta take it. Now environment, yeah, risk on both sides. I see that. Give me a second. All right. Stock is gone. This was definitely the area. I mean, again, I could probably go higher. I just don't want to. I had in my mind maybe 180, but I'd rather just take my cap. And again, please listen to this. Be thoughtful of this. Those options, that's fine. Those are like a fixed cost. I'm okay with that. Right? Losing $1,000 here on some cheap options. Don't give a crap. Stock, don't want to play games with, because if this thing gapped up, and that would hurt. Here's the next thing. If you take your loss, hit your stops, now what? Now you have capital to do whatever the hell you want. And that's how you have to look at it. Like, there's always another great idea coming. And if you can't mentally do that, and you go, well, I gotta continue to short gold. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, again, I'd like to say I'm always right. You would like to say it. We'd all would. But the reality is that we're not. That is the biggest problem here. And you're going to have to, at some point, come to grips with the fact that the 1, 2 out of 10 times, the stocks that just aren't working, and you got to pivot, And if you can continue, and again, you can hear it in my voice. Like, I don't like being wrong. I don't like taking stops or hitting stops. But I always look at it like, all right, well, it could have been worse. What if it's the top? I mean, how many times you have to realize, like, the tops and the bottoms, you're going to be early more times than not. By the time something goes, as we talk about professional gaps, that's the nature of it. Again, I don't know if it's a head fake. I mean, again, I anticipate the market rallying after it held the range lows. That's not a surprise to me. That ain't a surprise to me. So, what did you just purchase? My wife, wow, God. Women, why do you guys spend money on things that don't pay you? And just like to overpay for the name of something? That boggles my mind. No, First Solar is not rallying that much. No, again, same thing with most of the market. Again, I'm not surprised the financials. We talked about that earlier. ChopX. Now, again, if you get stopped out of gold, hey. You don't think I like pretty things? That's why no, I like pretty things. I like shiny stuff. But if that woman put all the money that let's just say we could have, I mean, again, we'd have more passive income, and then you could buy more of that stuff later. Sacrifice now to get paid later. And buy the biggest and best if you really wanted to. Fucking Cartier. It's unreal. Hermes. Ugh, I mean, again, it's stupid. It's so dumb. And I don't get why women are smarter than men inherently when it comes to like judgment. Right? But again, if something is overvalued, overpriced, and it has a nice name on it, I got to buy it. I don't get that. Oh, but this purse is made by Hermes. And it's like, it looks just like that fake knockoff. Who cares? No, it's not real. Okay, I get it. Those things will go up in value over time if they're valuable and what they are. But holy crap. I mean, you know how they say, like, plant the seeds for your future by investing in the right assets today. Nope. Oh, she's picked you. Again, she's picking my pocket. That's why I'm sitting here laughing about it. I'm like, don't tell your significant other when you're doing well. She just happens to know because I manage one of her IRAs. And let's just say that thing is up like 60% in the last 2 weeks. And she's like, spending money already. You're like, how the hell is that? It's like, yeah, options. If you're not in options that haven't gone bonkers, then I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. I don't give her shiny stuff. She just buys it anyway. She's in San Francisco for a business meeting, and the hotel is literally right next to the Cartier store. Couldn't help herself. Got to buy a $8,000 fucking ring. Unreal. But she can spend her money on however she wants, even though she knows I cover the bills. Sorry, that's talk about crying. Like that is. If y'all ever meet me, I don't have anything flashy. I don't ever want to draw attention to myself. I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care what you think of me. Thanks for the reimbursing. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, back to what. All right, stopped out on gold stock, got some options, just letting them ride. I don't know. It could be the stupidest thing ever. We'll see. Not surprised the market's rallying. Do we want to reload some shorts? I would probably wait closer to the close. Again, this isn't necessarily a woman or a man thing, because I know guys who spend money on cars. And again, I like updating and making my car nice, but like people who just spend endless amounts of money on things versus like thinking about, all right, well, if I put this money into this and it pays me, I can have 10 of them later. Or I won't have to work if I can figure out how to get 5 properties that pay me $500 a month. You know, say this was years ago or whatever. Or, hey, my potential upside is if I put $50,000 into this, my cash on cash return will be 8% a year, only increasing with inflation. Okay, well, that sounds like a good investment. Right? No, people just don't do that. Again, it's self-sacrifice. And again, this is why the richest people I know, again, are either like super stupid rich and they don't care, or the ones that you would never know they have money. They hide it well. Oh, no, I'm being silly too. I'm having fun with it. I just laugh. I just absolutely laugh. Because my wife, where she came from, she had a hard upbringing. And actually, that's why I think makes her so passionate about medicine and being as intelligent as she is. She's way smarter than I am. She's got degrees from Florida, Duke, University of Colorado, probably getting a Duke MBA soon in business, which will be hilarious because I could basically teach that class. So anyway, any thoughts, questions, concerns? I mean, at this point, not surprised the market's rallying back. Do you want to jump into shorts right now? I would probably wait closer to the close if you want to think about shorting. Because you have to remember, at a certain point, like the market makers absorbed all the puts, right? Last week, early this week. Retail's buying them. Is it done in an hour? How about roadblocks are fun? Yeah, they got a big Morgan Stanley downgrade today. How fun is that? I mean, this is where, and here's a classic example. Classic. The more you're up, the less you own. Same thing with AA today, because they got a big guidance. I don't know if it's down, whatever. It doesn't matter. The reaction of the guidance wasn't good. But the more you're up, less you own. Like, look at that. Oh, I mean, how many, and this is where I talk about like sand trying to grasp it through your hands and it just evaporates. Like, your profits are not real until they're realized, because this kind of crap happens all the time out of nowhere. That's what I'm talking about, like individual stocks going into earnings. Be very careful. Try to stick to some of these generic ETFs. Like, short the fads if you want financials, right? First Solar, I know, again, I'm breaking my rule. It just seems so obvious. TSM already had earnings. That's fine. Beyond that, gold, dust, SPXL, SMH, right? I mean, again, if things hit the fan or things go, you're not going to probably get absolutely banged out, destroyed on. Because that's always the biggest thing, is like, how many times will earnings be a trap, right? Where it goes up then just to get smoked cheddar. Everyone likes smoked cheddar, right? What else is I just... Yeah, let's look at First Solar. Again, Roblox, I mean, it looked like it filled that gap. I don't know. That just seems way too hard, I guess, for me to actually know what's coming next. Because, again, a lot of it's going to depend on the market direction. Is it rallying off the lows? Well, yeah, so is everything else. So is everything else. MicroStrategy. Yeah, that's interesting. This thing. Where's coin at? I know people are looking at that. I don't even have that on my trade sheet. I'd imagine that's coming. Oh, no, that's not really coming back that great. What else? What else should we be looking at? Like, here again, we're talking about AA. Like, here you go. Like, slipping through your hands. You hit, and this is why sometimes people are like, oh, you take your money so quick. And it's like, because this kind of crap, the more something gets pulled in one direction, the more likely the counter move can come up and just slap you back. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, look at that. Man, if you would have sold at 57, got back down to 50 today. Now, I'm not surprised it's holding here. And I know why people are like, ooh, should we buy some? Should we buy some? I mean, if you want to hedge, maybe that's the way you trade it. Cool. Maybe that's one way to do it. Let's look at Taiwan Semi, because this one is just like so juicy to me. You get like the blow off gap. It continues higher because obviously the market, it now is like in this VAP zone, right? It's at the very extreme of the VAP zone. And people will say, oh, it's under accumulation. I don't know. Maybe. I doubt it. Now you're coming into resistance, right? It should back up. It goes from 72 up to 90, whatever, 91. I like the risk reward there. I like the risk reward. Do you? Maybe. Oh, God. SPY, OPEX, Max Pain. Oh, Jesus. Tell me about it on Friday after the close. I used to know all that stuff. I used to study that stuff. And again, when the options markets were less liquid and the only people trading them were big and smart money, now it's like literally every idiot out there. And that's why it's going to be sad when the market liquidity dries up, because so many people got blown out from playing options. Again, the max pain, that stuff changes so quick. You don't know who's on the other side of it. I don't doubt that it could hit it, but I also don't give a shit. Excuse my language, because I've seen that stuff be so wrong so many times. I've seen so many people go, well, I pay for this program, or I'm studying the options chain, and this is the max pain point, and I'll go to maxpain.com or whatever that one website that does it for free. And it's like, if that stuff was so good and so amazing, everybody would be freaking rich. Emotional damage. That's what that caused me. Max Pain does, because it ends up being max pain for me if I'm wrong. I mean, how many times, who's been here and traded the gold miners and known the max pain and been like, all right, there it is. Wrong. Dead wrong. Dead wrong. Now, it doesn't mean it couldn't get up to like 394 intraday at some point. I don't doubt that's possible. Remember we talked like 390, 393. Maybe 394 is where it spikes to. I don't know. I mean, either way, like at this point, the day is over for me in the sense of like really doing anything unless we see some extremes. Took profits at the lows, didn't get all of it out at the lows, whatever. Just started going, I'm pretty happy, content. Was watching the SPY 10-minute and was like, oh crap. I want to have some shorts, but also don't want to have, again, because this is the thing, like you can go freaking huge when the VIX hits 18s and it looks like it's about to roll over and financials are rolling over and Goldman Sachs gets absolutely slapped in the face. Yeah. And then you start taking off. Now here, this is what bothers me is like you have like this like look below and fail rally. It's like, where do we go? Why is this not, where's my other chart? This is what I like looking at the hourly. I hate it. I mean, as much as I love the 10 minute, I don't. I mean, yeah, you're 394 to 393 makes sense. Does it get there? Does it get there? Because this, again, we talk about like straight line moves. You got to get super nervous about them at some point. If you want to take all your profits on your shorts, I mean, it's just a personal preference. It really is. Like, there's no right answer because we don't know how large this could rise. Could it just be a dead flop and gap down tomorrow? Maybe. Could it be a chop? Maybe. But here's the thing, like, take the pressure off. Like, and this is why for me, when I go large, like I immediately take the pressure off as soon as I think it's reasonable and try to get back down to like levels where like, all right. And sometimes this is one of a mistake that I make that I wish I wasn't so bad at this sometimes is that like, oh, I'm rationalizing holding onto a position because, oh, I've made so much money in it. And it's like, it's, you know, it's like having losses are different than it's like, oh, I'm just giving back gains. And that's like, again, that's, if you look at it from the same perspective, they're still losses. And we can always be more vigilant about that. Here we go. Apple popping up. The Q's trying to rally. Yeah, I mean, it's not beyond me to think that at some point, or should you, your own mindset, like the headline is Dow down, whatever, 700 points yesterday. I don't even know what it was down. And then the Dow again this morning freaking out. And I think Drew talked about this, if he's listening in the early in the recap. I'm like, be careful about that right off the open. See what happens after power hour. See what happens as like the day goes on before you start to think that. Because I didn't think we'd rally right off the open. Because again, there's just too many people getting bearish. They want to feed the puts to the masses, right? So it didn't really make sense for the market to rally off of the open. And I mean, like, be the real rally, right? This is what's hard to like try to explain, is that you wanted to see a new low, right? Because that's how you get those people to hold those puts. Well, we just don't know if it's actually going to follow through. And I don't really, again, I'm not watching the options chains like I used to. I don't care. So maybe now they get their fill when they get their fill. And when I say they, I mean retail. First Solar, wow, you are just pretty. Man, I really would like to add some. Can you get up to 180 for me? Not 180, 170? I would love that. All right, any more thoughts, questions, concerns? Because I think a lot of people have questions but won't ask or are scared. I really don't mind if you just can take a joke. If you can't take a joke, don't ask, I guess. Or if you don't really want the honest answer. Because if I come to you and say you are a professional at anything, and I come to you and I ask for your opinion, and I respect you, and then I just do the opposite, well, whose time are we? You know, like that's like the ultimate sign of like, what are you doing asking? That's a waste. Like, if you actually want real answers, hopefully they mean something and you'll take them for what they are. Because I swear to God that I'm always trying to give people the best insights because, I mean, again, when you're given the gift of knowledge that you think will help benefit others, it's good to try to share it. Now, again, no one gets forced it down their throats. Like, this isn't some religion or some cult. No, like, if you want to listen, you want to listen. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. Do you want to be a student? Well, if you don't want to be a student, then hopefully you figure it out on your own. I just know, as someone who has a tremendous amount of experience in it, figuring it out on my own, each level of consciousness came with a price. Meaning, the more better you got at trading, the more the risk of overconfidence and the risk of making mistakes get magnified so that your emotional roller coaster is greater. And that's how the market, like, it's kind of like the crab pot. Like, you always get caught back in it. No, of course, and again, I appreciate you guys, support, the love, and it pushes me to want to help more because again, if you start making more money, you have to be just as vigilant. That's why I'm always like, if Dem Diggs is listening, he started with nothing, and he's got 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. I don't know where he's at now, but he's slowly building up. And I'm like, man, if you treat $1 like you do $100,000, I guarantee you're going to do better than everybody else here, probably even better than me, because your respect for the game and money for what it is an absolute necessity. Absolute necessity. Because if you treat $10 differently than you treat $1,000, and then again, the decimal points just start changing and you don't have that same kind of respect, you don't even realize it, but you're gambling. Is it easier to level up if you're doing the work and following Dan? I would hope so. I mean, I think I'm happy with my trading. Again, am I perfect? No. Certain times of the year been a struggle. I mean, last spring, man, we absolutely, that was so easy. Last summer, pretty solid. Fall, a little bit of a struggle here and there. End of the year, a little choppy. I mean, again, some people hate chop. I get that. But you have sometimes to anticipate it, and then you can react. I would just say at this point in your career, you just have to keep asking yourself, why do I make mistakes? And then the mistakes that I make, how do I resolve them and fix them? Because if you don't, like that lesson, like you're doomed to make the same mistake until you figure out why and how to stop it. Well, for everybody, it's different, right? Because certain people trade different leverage, right? Yeah, First Solar is decoupled from this bounce. No, and that's good. Brian, we talked about, like, I want to see like the market do what it's going to do, but I want to see certain names just not go. I want to see them look like when you look at First Solar, for example, not on the hourly. I can't believe my freaking, whatever, I'll whine about that later. I mean, we talked about it rising. It wasn't sustainable. Now that it's pulling back, like how many people do you think got trapped into the upgrades? Remember we talked about like the endless upgrades in First Solar? Okay, now they're stuck. Market makers, smart money was like, you can have all our shares, young friend. And now the people are stuck. I mean, it's kind of like how, this is a more extreme example, but when we talked about like Tesla up here, like it made no sense. So we were like, this is going to flop at some point. And once it does, it's just, even though the market has, since September, blah, blah, blah. SPY is what? Probably, I was going to say, it's down a couple percent. Well, here you go. I mean, here's an example of like everyone piling into solar thinking it's somehow going to be like a really good trade. And it's like, no. If oil and gas aren't screaming higher, which again, they could potentially, but even then, I don't know about you, but the average person, like, can they afford $25,000, $30,000 solar panels on their house to save $50 a month? I mean, I see these guys coming around our neighborhood all the time, and like, is anyone actually buying from you guys? Oh, we'll finance it. Oh. Do you think when your house sells, someone wants to assume some loan on a solar system that's going to be outdated? Ugh. Gross. If you're ever going to buy solar, buy it straight up and just be done with it. And assume that cost is not going to be recouped anytime soon unless like power prices are up. And then again, if you live in your house for the next 5 years, you're not going to see that benefit. Maybe long term, but and it does. And I personally think it does give a little bit of value to a house that has it paid off. But leased, oh God, fuck that. I don't want to assume your lease for a solar panel. Get that thing off my house. All right, any more thoughts, questions, concerns? I'll wrap it up. I didn't realize it's already been an hour. What's gold doing? We stopped out. Okay, did the right thing on the stock. The options, ouchies. Ouchie potatoes. I mean, we're getting really close to that area where I just don't think there's going to be much upside. And again, the bugle of gold bulls is endless. I'm just telling y'all right now. And again, maybe something's coming, and they're right the 1 out of 10 times. Remember, because think about it, the market maker knows how to trick people 90% of the time. Sometimes that 1% of the time they're right is more of just a fatten the pig for slaughter. Again, knowing gold, seasonality, due for a little pullback. Could it continue rising into February, March? Maybe. But this has been an absolute monster move. And the Feds are not cutting yet. That's when it, anticipates probably the best gold move. And that's the thing. It could be just a pullback for a couple months or weeks or tight action. I don't know. All right, one more question coming in. The SPY 390, VIX at the lows, dollar back at the lows. Man, this is a sneaky little spot maybe to short. Gold kind of chopping up here. See material names holding up. Yeah, I think if you want to take, man, you probably should have done it when it hit at 391. Give me 2 seconds. Again, here, let's see if we can see if there's a live trade actually worth watching and doing. Give me the, no. Oh, yeah, 10-minute. Spy me. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Here is the trade. If you were, apologize everyone watching this, but you got a tight stop, probably like 391 if you shorted it. That makes sense to me. Yeah, gold is looking like the next First Solar. Okay. Yeah. Keep an eye on this 391 area. Because you get over it, then obviously the market can go to mid 393, 394 would be the next resistance. If you have any questions, again, stop by, hit me up on Twitter. And again, I apologize to the people who are like, I got a few questions like, hey, why'd you kick me out of the room recently? It's like, hey, you're not really involved. I want people who are asking questions involved, genuinely trying to listen. Because if you're just there to like pick up the knowledge through osmosis, it doesn't really work. Right? Like if you're all in to learn something, I don't commit partially. And if that you don't need to, good, cool. You mean trying to keep everyone posted on Twitter, and the daily recap is there every day. So hit me up. Got any questions? I appreciate you guys. Thank you again for all of the love and support. I will talk to you guys and gals later. Peace. Watch the SPY here.